everyone, I am here, and if you've seen my other posts, you know exactly where here is. So as you tune in, fill everyone else and start writing in the comments exactly where you are. So in the meantime, my name is Rachel DeBarros, and you've probably seen me on my YouTube series Gearhead Diva, or on the Velocity Network on All Girls Garage. And joining me here for my experience, they're like my support team right here, is IndyCar driver Gabby Chaves. Now, this guy is on a track on upwards. He won the 2014 Indy Lights and was 2015 Sunoco Rookie of the Year. And on my left here, we have Scott, who knows this Indy 2-seater car inside and out. So I'm going to be picking his brains for all the juicy details. So what inspired you to get racing? Because I heard you got behind a wheel at age 13, karting 13. So you're probably driving way before then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess who doesn't want to drive when they're young, right? So it's just kind of been a thing in my family and kind of been a thing for me. I'm just a big fan, and anything more that I can do to be involved. And the next thing was being a driver, and I got lucky enough to do it.
That is so awesome. And I also know that it was Gabby's birthday this Friday, so smash those love hearts for him. And I always say, if your birthday falls on a Friday, well, then it's automatic. You celebrate the entire weekend. So doing anything special for your birthday other than taking me for the ride of my life?
I wish I could say it was something fun, but no, I had a good time. I actually got to spend the day with my Harding Racing team for IndyCar. We went go-karting together, took our mechanics, our corporate guys, and we had a great time. So it's definitely good. It's still going, right? The weekend's not over.
Exactly. Well, that's why he's just been working his way up, because this guy is like all work. He squeezes in a little bit of play, but you're definitely working hard. And on my left, we have Scott. So Scott is going to tell us all about this car. So how fast am I really going to be going here?
Probably about 130 or so, would you say? 130, 140? Gabby,
Nice.
What do you think?
What do you guys think? Let's make our way.
I drove the car earlier this morning. I think he's underselling it, because I was looking at her speedo and we were actually closer to 155.
155? Well, let me tell you guys a little bit about the track. So if you've all read comments, we are at the Iowa Corn 300, and this is the 11th out of 17 races of the Verizon IndyCar Series. And this Iowa Corn 300 here is the 4th of 6 oval tracks. Now, I know what some of you torque monster people are saying here. Oval track, okay. Well, let me tell you, the drivers back here would beg to differ, because this is actually the shortest track. It's less than a mile, so I would say about 0.875 mile, and you can do a lap in less than 18 seconds. So for an average driver like myself jumping into a car like this, by the time... Hey everyone, and we are back. We are in the middle of the racetrack, so our connection got spotty for just a second. It could have been all the smell of horsepower and asphalt in the air, so that tends to have that. Well, we were talking about the Iowa Corn 300. 300 laps, 0.875 mile. You can do a lap in under 18 seconds. And I was talking about Gabby because he knows all about this. At his Freedom 100, there were 4 cars coming down for that finish line, and he took it by 0.0026 of a second. So all that reaction time really does matter with this track, and it's a pretty complex track. So to mentally prepare for something like this that just passes by so quickly, I mean, you got to be the Neo in the Matrix and move quicker than time itself. So tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely, that's a great reference. It's you almost have to throw yourself into a separate reality, because if you just look away for a fraction of a second, you lose that concentration, and you just miss it. It's all over. The wall is right there. It comes at you really quick. The guys are averaging here 185 miles an hour in 7/8 of a mile, which is insane. You're spending half the time in the corners, really no time for any breaks. Your mind is racing the whole time. You're going upwards of almost 5 G-forces in the corner. So you really have to be on top of your game out there.
So basically, I took a peek at some dude's curly fries just right now, I do admit, so I probably would have lost right there. I'm not IndyCar material. So we're almost approaching the car, but in the meantime, you can see all the drivers behind me. So today you're going to see Scott Dixon, James Hinchcliffe, Takuma Sato, of course, and Ryan Hunter-Reis, who's actually won this thing like 3 times, and Marco Andretti, who's won it once. So I'm hoping that those guys really take those moments from those wins and transfer them over here. So we're going to be watching them, crossing our fingers, smash some love for those guys. And we are almost approaching the car here. And a couple other wins for this track right now. Honda has already had 6 victories. So right now, they're in the lead for the Manufacturers' Championship. I would say 820 points versus 744 from that of Chevy. So are they going to increase their lead today, or is the competition going to get really stiff between these two manufacturers? And the latest win actually happened from Scott Dixon over at Road America. And so we're going to watch him today and praise him, and hopefully he's going to really pull through as well. So a lot of Honda drivers, Takuma Sato, of course, at Indianapolis 500, and this is truly special because this is the 12th win for Honda in the last 14 years. And out of the 17 times they've appeared there, they've taken home more victories than any other car manufacturer. So that just shows no matter what car manufacturer you love, when you have that much passion and game for your drivers, for your products, for your engine, for your race cars, that shows just a love of the sport and passion for speed. So now we are here at the IndyCar 2-seater, and I'm going to turn to Scott for all the juicy details here. Now, a 1-seater versus a 2-seater, is there any major difference? I mean, in terms of chassis, is the engine the same, the HI-17R?
No, we use a different Honda. We use a Honda engine, of course.
Oh.
We use a turbocharged 6-cylinder engine. But it's
Twin, turbocharged?
Yes, and it's a Dallara chassis. So what makes it different? Obviously, it's a 2-seater, right? But it was custom built by Dallara in Italy. The chassis was made there. And then there's a lot of safety features on the 2-seater that are not on Indy cars, such as there's a roll bar here, and then 2 underneath the side pods, which makes it extra safe for you. And then when you're taking the ride too, the tub itself is a little thicker carbon fiber than the Indy car because we don't have to be exact specs. But it's very similar, most of the other parts. Wow,
so what's the top speed on something like this? Like, how fast could I get away if I try and get off the track?
At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the Monday after the Indy 500, every year we do a 200-mile-an-hour ride, so we do 33 of those. And Mario Andretti gives people a ride. You cross the bricks at 200 miles an hour. So we've seen this car as fast as 209 miles an hour, so an average speed at Indianapolis. So it has capabilities of going quite quick. I would say it's the fastest racing experience in the car in the world. I would say racing experience car.
They do call it that. They call it the fastest seat in motorsports. And right now, this is the most slowest we're ever going to see it standing still, because when I jump in, it's just going to be launched across. And so I heard that also for the cars, the Indy cars, Kevlar for the fuel cells?
Kevlar for the fuel cell, yes.
Wow, that's some Batman stuff right there. So I can imagine you're hitting the wall. I mean, you don't want any special effects like Die Hard. You don't want it to turn into Die Hard.
Correct.
No. Okay, yeah. So we want to keep it pretty tame in that respect. But very, very cool. I cannot wait to get into this thing. And I always love the up-close personal look at the cockpit right here, because check this out. I mean, it's almost like video gaming, but not. So it's really cool. And look at the tiny, tiny dimensions, because you were talking about G-force up to 5. So what you're telling me is that the organs that are here kind of end up here towards the end of that. So as a driver, I'm trying to think, what about like your neck, like whiplash and all that? Do you have to do special training for your body?
Yeah, we do a lot of strength exercises specifically for oval racing, and obviously a lot for, we have 12 road courses a year versus 5 ovals, so we try to balance each type of exercise as best as we can. But certainly for the ovals, you're straining only one side of your body mainly for up to 3.5 hours, which like a 500-mile race would be in length. So definitely a lot of training specific for that. In a case like this, where your body, your head, your neck, everything is experiencing up to 5 times your body weight pulling against you. There's only so much you can do. I mean, you could throw the Hulk in here, and it's not going to be very good. So we do use head pads to help compensate a little bit of that G-force, especially on your neck, because that's the part that has to be upright all the time. But everything else is this is what we train to do. And I mean, you could put in the fastest runner, one of the fittest athlete out there, and they are not trained for this. They will not last more than a couple laps. So it's very specific to this type of track.
Yeah, and that's the thing that really gets me, is that going around a couple laps like we're going to do is nothing like trying to stay in the game 300 times. Like, multiply that by 300 times, and like he was saying, you really cannot break concentration. And I kind of noticed your helmet there, and I saw that you changed it up a bit from your previous helmet, because you had a really cool color scheme going with, I love this, with like all the fleck, and some of my painting guys will really appreciate that. But you use the colors from, like, back in the day. You kind of brought that back. Like, what was with that other previous color scheme? And you guys go to his Twitter page, Gabby Chaves, at Gabby Chaves, to see what I'm talking about. It's pretty cool.
All right, so actually, a little bit on background on that story. Actually, this is my older helmet, and the one that I used at the Indy 500 was my original helmet design that I used since I was 11, 12 years old in go-karting. That one, I like to keep it. It's my Indy 500 helmet, so I wear it for the race, and then it kind of goes to retirement. It gets put up in a shelf, and it's specific to that race. But that is actually my most current design or paint scheme, and this is actually the older one, which I do enjoy. This one too. It's got some flair to it, a little bit of more shining.
Yeah, definitely, especially in the sunlight. So we are actually about to get in here, so you're going to see my facial reaction as soon as I get out, and that's going to be in a few minutes. I would say about 10 minutes. So tune in, stick there. We'll see if you'll see me getting out of the car, or if Gabby comes back by himself. Let's see what happens. Catch you guys in a few. As the cars whiz by. So I just got done my ride. As you see, it took me a moment to collect my thoughts, and what you're hearing behind me is the rapalicious sounds of all these Indy cars. And well, Gabby did not take it easy on me at all. We got warmed up, and I said, I got this. But then the G-forces started to kick in. And let me tell you, I was one with the right side of the car. I mean, we were on like third date level because it was just that much. So you were not kidding about the G-forces at all. It's totally different. I've never experienced that, even on like the roller coasters. So I think for me, this was the most similar thing to being like in the movie Inception. I was like Matthew McConaughey. I just started the race and then I ended the race. It was like being in multiple places at once. So that was a very cool experience. I'm so happy that Honda invited me here to do this. Definitely once in a lifetime. So I mean, you get to do this all the time. So how was it for you getting the car out there? You got it going, turning a little bit. That was great.
Well, it's great because we get to ride in front of the field and we catch up to them at speed, and you almost feel like you're part of the race there for a second. So it's a great experience. I love doing this. I love racing, of course, but to be able to share my passion with other people like yourself today, it's what makes the sport so great, and it's what gives me joy as well. I love doing this.
It was such a great experience, and yeah, I mean, if I can come back, I will do it again. But yeah, we definitely caught up to the other cars, and I almost thought there for a second that Gabby was going to put me in the race. Like we were going to race two-seater and have that reaction time. So until next time, I'll try and find another adventure for you guys. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Gabby. Follow Gabby at Gabby Chaves on Twitter for all of his personal musings and stories, insider look at what it's like to be an IndyCar driver. Thank you so much.